Okay.
Okay, Sally.
3, 2, 1. Good morning. It is March 14th, and this is Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters Club. Welcome from around the world. I am Sally Reyes, your acting Sergeant at Arms. And please take out that phone and turn it to silence. Thank you. And please help me welcome our significant, outstanding, angelic leader, Cynthia Stott. Welcome.
Thank you, Sally. Appreciate it. Oh, I'm so excited that you're here today. This is our Leaders Worldwide. As I said before, Africa, Europe, and Middle East edition. We have people from everyone. Where we have Sheena from Scotland and Tala from Pakistan, and many of us from the US, all around the US, from Ohio to California. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I'm going to first read our Toastmasters International mission statement and core values. At Toastmasters International, we empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. Our core values are integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Our club mission is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And here at Leaders Worldwide, we were designed for politicians, business and nonprofit leaders, entrepreneurs, and others who want to make their message heartfelt, authentic, and ready for the worldwide stage. And boy, do we have a worldwide stage ready for you. First of all, we're soft launching, doing a pilot program for the District 57 Speakers Bureau, where you can apply if you're a member of a club in good standing in District 57 here in Northern California, East Bay, San Francisco East Bay. You can apply to be a speaker, and that is going to be shared with Toastmasters clubs all around the world in phase 1. In phase 2, it's going to go out to Lions clubs and Rotary clubs and other nonprofit organizations. Phase 3, it's going to go to corporations. So it's a fabulous way to build your repertoire and to actually work towards an NSA designation or the Toastmasters accredited speaker designation. So that's going on. And then we also have a TEDx event that we're going to be launching. Now, this, I think, will be the first ever Toastmasters Club to host a TEDx event. We're not going to just prepare you for the TEDx event, although we are going to do that. We are actually going to host a TEDx event, and probably a series of them. I imagine it would probably be every week, like for a month, so that we could get all of our member speakers in it in various shapes and forms. We're going to have an audition program for 5 to 7 minutes. And then if they make the 5 to 7 minutes, they can go for the 10 to 12 minutes. And if they can go for the make it for the 10 to 12 minutes, they can audition for 16 to 18 minutes, which of course that was like a pyramid. We have very few people talking at that level. And then if you didn't make the 5 to 6 minute segment and you are a Leaders Worldwide member, I imagine you'll be able to do a table topic for 1 to 2 minutes and also speak on TEDx. So that's what we imagine. We're going to have to check all this out with TED, and we've already checked it out with Toastmasters International, and we've gotten approval for that. But we still have TED. And we're going to be looking at that. Hopefully next month we can do it if all of our speakers are able to use Easy Speak and put in their title of their speech and their project and everything. But we had some people this month that couldn't do that. So we got to wait till next month. And hopefully next month, everyone will do it. And if they don't, then we'll have to make it to the following month. You get the idea. make sure you understand how to put your information into easy speak, and then we will easily get on to planning our TEDx event. But we can't even start planning it unless that happens. And you're all amazing leaders. I know you can get support from Kathleen and Victor, and you can do it. I know you can. So on to welcoming our guests, our members and our guests. We don't have time to say hello to each individually, but we will have a chance for you to speak in our table topics section if you want to volunteer for that. And we also have our famous or infamous virtual chocolates and takeaways at the end, where you can share what your experience was at the meeting and what you're taking away with you today, and receive a virtual chocolate from yours truly. Great. So I want to welcome our Toastmaster of the day, none other than DTM Victor Irving Jenkins. Take it away, Victor.
Hello. Hello, welcome, and thank you all for joining our wonderful meeting today. This meeting does not come just by osmosis. There's a team of people that provides input to make this meeting a reality. And part of that team helps assign a theme for the meeting. Today, we have our agenda, a link to the agenda in the chat box. And the agenda is a critical part of the meeting, because while the agenda is not engraved in stone, it is what we use to moderate how well we do what it is that we say that we're going to do. And as our president said, the mission of a Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and a positive learning environment where every member is given the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills and foster self-confidence and personal growth. The agenda helps us do that. So we do as best we can to adhere to the agenda. And if you are looking at the agenda, you will notice that the theme for today's meeting is the Ides of March. How many of us know what in the world the Ides of March even means? I didn't know until I went to high school and found out about William Shakespeare. And that infamous warning was issued to Mr. Julius Caesar himself: beware the Ides of March. Well, let me tell you what I found out about the Ides of March specifically for this meeting. The Ides of March is the 74th day in the Roman calendar, and it actually corresponds to the 15th of March, which is tomorrow. So the way that we beware for the Ides of March is we have a Toastmasters meeting a day before the Ides of March. The Ides of March was marked by several religious observations and was notable with the Romans for many things, chief of which was to pay your debts. So if you owe me any money, you have until the Ides of March to pay it, or I'm going to send someone after you. Now let's moving forward from the Ides of March, and you know what the theme of the Ides of March is. According to the agenda, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to introduce someone else who is a big player in this meeting. And I'm not sure if he's here yet, but if he's not here, well, we are going to just have to wait for him until he gets here. And that is the general evaluator. The general evaluator duty this week has been assigned and accepted by none other than the inimitable Taha bin Hamid. Taha, if you're here, take it away. And if you're not here, we're sorry you're not here.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. I most certainly am not here, but I still will take it away because it's your instructions. So, if you think of a Toastmasters meeting as an eclair, the evaluation is the chocolatey, silky, sumptuous core in the middle. And I'm the guardian of that core as the general evaluator. So my duty will be to keep an eye on the meeting and to note where things went well and what could be improved. And I'll also be hosting the ultimate session at the end of the meeting, which is called the evaluation session. As general evaluator, it is my duty now to invite our grammarian and word master of the day, Toastmaster Lynn Frelling. So over to you.
I don't think Lynn's here.
All right. Then do we have someone else who can do the grammarian role? Any of the guests?
I do
All
it.
right. Thank you
Judith,
so much. Yes,
thank you so much.
thank you so much. So, word of the day on the agenda is decision. And so, Pastor Judith, if you can explain the grammarian role.
What is the word of the day?
Decision.
It is
Decision.
decision. Yes.
Okay, so you want me to explain what I do as a general evaluator? Okay,
As a grammarian and word master.
I am a grammarian and word master. Okay, as a grammarian, sorry. As a grammarian, and a word master, I will look for the words that people use as often as possible, the word decision. And as a grammarian, I will look for the proper use of the English language as also interesting phrases that people use in their speeches. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We loved your decision to take up this role. And over to you, Toastmaster.
Back to me already? Good. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The decision to get rid of Julius Caesar was one that affected time immemorial. So decisions are very important. I think decision is it may be a Latin word that actually means to cut off. It comes from the word decide, which means to cut off, which means when you decide something, you cut off any other options except the thing that you decide on. And of course, decision is critical to qualify as a table topics person when you are in that part of the meeting. Our table topics master will tell you more about the word of the day when that time comes. But if you look at the agenda, the next thing to do is to introduce the timer. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, I normally say, Madam Timer, give us the timing constraints or tell us what you do. But I don't think the timer today is a madam. So will the timer take it away?
Great. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My job as a timer, well, actually, I have made a decision to make sure that we are on time today. And we're going to have 3 speeches. The keynote speech will be 15 minutes. So at the 13 minutes, you will see the green, 14 yellow, and 15 red. And the other 2 speeches are going to be prepared speeches, and they're going to be from 5 to 7. So it'll be the same thing. At 5 minutes, the green. At 5.5, at 6, the yellow, and at 7, the red. So that will be the timing that we will go through, and the table topics is going to be from 1 to 2 minutes. So it'll be 1 minute green, 1.5 yellow, and 2 minutes red. And that will be my duty today. And I will give a report at the end of the meeting to let you know how well you did on our timing. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you ever so much. And one of the critical changes that we have had to make in the virtual world is the way that we connect with our audience. When we are in the same room with the audience, we look from one audience member to the other, or some lesser experienced speakers, they look on the top of the people's head and imagine them all in their underwear. On the virtual lectern, we spend our time looking directly into the camera as I am doing right now. And if we're doing that, sometimes it's difficult to see where the timer is or how the timer is or when the cards come up, and that impacts how well you keep with the time. So when it's your turn to speak, if you are speaking in one of the timing positions, I want to urge you to pin the timer, because when you pin the timer, that way you can see out of the corner of your eye or in your periphery when you get to the green card, when you get to the yellow card, when you get to the red card. Our keynote speaker today, which is, if you're looking at the agenda, that's the next thing that we do. We introduce the keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker is Linda Patten, who's a leadership trainer and mentor. She joined Toastmasters in December 2020 2019. And since then, she has skyrocketed into speaking and leadership. She has completed the Triple Crown twice. She was awarded the OATM twice and was awarded her DTM in July of 2021. She was named the District Finance Officer and Toastmaster of the Year in District 57 for the year 2020 through 2021. Currently, she is the Area D30 Director, Secretary in the Heart to Heart Toastmasters, and the Treasurer in Leaders Worldwide. She lives in, and I hope I say this properly, Gahanna, Ohio, USA. This woman knows how to lead. She knows how to lead with her heart, and she knows how to lead with her head. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, visitors, and anyone in earshot, I give you Linda Patten. Let's hear it to Linda Patten.
Thank you, Victor. And no, you didn't pronounce it right. It's Gahanna. But everyone who doesn't live here pronounces it Gahanna. Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters, the TMOD who we're going to talk about today, and not even behind his back, and the general evaluator, Tala, and again, not behind his back. I was asked to present a 15-minute keynote on the role of the Toastmaster of the day and the general evaluator. And Victor and Tala, I would be more than happy if you would jump in with ideas and things that I might not hit, keep them brief, but it would be great to have your contribution to the speech as well. One of the things that helps new people in roles is this wonderful book created by Toastmasters International. Notice it says, a Toastmaster wears many hats. And that is so very, very, very true. And we have to be flexible, fluid, and able to shift on a dime. But I do have to say that the TMOD and the general evaluator come together like hand and glove when it comes to running a Toastmasters meeting. What I'd love to know, I really wanted to do a whiteboard and have y'all give me ideas as to what the Toastmaster of the day does, but you've just had an example of someone who knows how to do it very, very, very well. Victor is our ringmaster. There is no question about that. And he has 3 rings that he is taking care of. One is the prepared speeches. Another one is the table topics. And the first one actually is the introduction, introducing the functionaries and introducing the evaluator, Tala, to introduce the evaluators. And so it is a big, happy family, to say the least. We all work together. We begin with the Toastmaster of the day. Now, what were some things that Victor did to really get this meeting rocking? I'll take answers from the crowd.
Started off with a little,
Oh.
he started with a little humor, actually.
Yes, he did start with a little humor. It is something that he does very, very, very well as the Toastmaster of the day. He lightens the atmosphere. He made a decision on how he was going to deal with that. Was it going to be a joke that he told? Was he going to ask somebody else to tell a joke? Was a joke even going to work? But yes, he gave us some humor up front. Sally, did you have one?
Same thing, humor.
Yeah, yeah. And he did a great job of introducing Tala as well. He wasn't clear whether he was here or not. So he did the introduction as though he were here and then turn it over to him and surprise, Tala was there, which is, again, something that as the ringmaster, you are expected to do. Okay, thank you. It's something that the Toastmaster needs to be able to do, is to twist and to turn easily and effortlessly. So let's look at some of the things that it's his responsibility, obviously, to introduce the speakers. So when we get to the planned speeches, he will introduce both Victor and Teresa. After they're concluded, he'll ask for the timer's report, or we will have the general evaluator. This is what I mean about some of these roles are fluid, that they're things that you can do, or you can turn them over to the general evaluator, whatever in essence makes sense, as long as each of the pieces parts are included in the meeting itself. And the Toastmaster of the day also has to watch his or her own timing. How long do I have to be able to, I almost want to say, warm up the crowd to make sure that they're all with us and that they're as excited about the speakers that we have coming up, as well as the table topics that will be presented later. And let me just tell you that I'm having a throat issue. So bear with me, please. Then you also have the introduction of the grammarian and the counter, who it turned out was not here. And again, you have to move on a dime. You have to be able to shift on a dime. It's sort of simple, like if the tiger attacks his handler, you as the Toastmaster would have to know, what do I do to entertain the crowd while somebody else is running into the cage and taking care of the tiger and his handler. That's what's important. He has to have his eye on every piece of the program and to make sure that it all runs extremely fluidly. Anyone else want to give me another piece that the Toastmaster does? Victor, you can jump into.
Well, one of the things that I noticed is he gave the history or the story behind the theme of the day. Really expounded on that.
Outstanding, yes. And Victor, I know, does that very well. As he checks into our theme of the day to see, where does it come from? Why are we doing it? How does it fit with a Toastmasters meeting? And Victor, I have to tell you, my husband was born on the Ides of March. He did not make a decision, or maybe he did make a decision to be born on that particular day. And so he's always gotten teased about it, especially since he took 4 years of Latin in high school. So this was a day that the students also got a chance to replay the assassination of Julius Caesar and to look at the political ramifications of that situation. What else? Anything else?
Well, John said energy.
Energy.
One of our guests.
Oh, thank you. You're monitoring the chat for me?
Yes, I will.
Thank you, Isaac. I so appreciate that. Yeah, that's something else I love about Isaac first for being jumping into the timing role and also jumping in as the Zoom co-host. And we do that. So it's not just the Toastmaster of the day and the general evaluator who need to be fluid, but oftentimes just the members in the crowd need to be fluid in case a role player doesn't show up, a functionary isn't there, and they can easily slide in. And the Toastmaster of the day can tell them what they should be doing in that role so that they are well informed and can do it with a plum or maybe an orange. I don't know.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, go ahead.
he
Cassandra?
facilitates the meeting and makes sure it moves forward on time.
Absolutely, Teresa, he does. And the timer also has a role in that, making sure that the timing is working accordingly. And yes, he keeps track of our timing and all of that. Cassandra, you had something?
Yes, he really sets the tone.
Mm.
He really orchestrates and sets the tone, and so that everything works well, runs well, but keeps the group in harmony and that it works fluidly. And like I said, sets the tone, the vibe, the energy, the whole flow of things.
Right. And without that, without him raising the energy in the room and setting the stage upon which we are going to speak and listen and partake, we would have chaos, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And Heike said he also weaved the word of the day into the meeting.
I think because Victor had the word of the day in advance, he knew exactly where he was going to put that. But decision, yeah, he got that in as many places as he possibly could. And that's also important because he he in essence role plays for us what the expectation is for the speakers, for the evaluators, the timers, and all of that in doing their job. And he is the role model for all of that. Something that I greatly appreciate from the Toastmaster of the day, because oftentimes I come in, it's a little later out here, especially for the evening program, for me to stay awake. And so the Toastmaster of the day really helps me stay in tune with what's going on in the meeting that particular day. Cynthia.
Yes, and Kathleen, who can't be here today because she had an emergency, she's going to be launching a special program. She's our VP of Education, and she's going to be sending out a Google form, or probably the jot form.com, and going to be asking you if you want to be Toastmaster of the day. And then you're going to have so many more opportunities. You're going to get to choose the theme of the day, because we're going to have our speakers already lined up, and you're going to be able to choose your general evaluator to be on your team, and choose a grammarian to be on your team, so that you can decide the word of the day together too. So the Toastmaster of the day, starting in May, will be very keyed in to the whole meeting and run the whole meeting. Choose the theme of the day, help choose the word of the day, choose their general evaluator, and really, really be in charge of having their team. Part of that also is that the Toastmaster day will need to get here a half an hour before and make sure that all of their team is here by 15 minutes before. So I won't be the one checking and chiming in all the time. It will be the Toastmaster of the day who will be checking and sending emails and WhatsApps and texts. So that will be a great role to really practice facilitating a meeting. Not just being a figurehead, kind of like it is now. So awesome.
Thank you, Cynthia. And Victor, do you feel like a figurehead?
No, but I look like one.
Yes, you can. So I really believe that, as Cynthia said, the Toastmaster of the day has a very critical role in the meetings and how it's run, and whether it runs smoothly, whether the speakers are all here. And they're going to be taking on more of that role after May. But those are the kinds of things that they need to do. They also set the agenda in a lot of cases as they move along. So any other additional comments about the Toastmaster of the day? Are we all set? Okay, then let's look at Tala's job. Tala is the general evaluator. And what do you think his job is?
Evaluate the meeting.
Evaluate the meeting. He evaluates the evaluators, as well as he evaluates every portion of the meeting. So the president's opening, the Toastmaster of the day's opening, how everyone was introduced, all of our speakers, table topics, and just the whole general feel of the meeting. Was it tight? Was it sort of lackadaisical? And we sort of got through everything, but there was really no pressure to be on time or on book or anything else. No, his job is to hold us in that line, moving forward from moment to moment, so that we can get all the aspects of the meeting in place. Have you ever noticed that there are times, not necessarily in our club, but in other clubs, where things get dropped off because somebody's not paying attention to the timer? Have you ever noticed that things get shortened or lengthened depending upon what role players may not have shown up? That oftentimes can happen. Tala, do you have anything specific when you're general evaluator that you look for?
Yes, actually, I not only look for the discipline of the meeting, but also I'd like to complement rather than veer towards evaluation or criticism, because that's already the job of evaluators. But I'd like to highlight the positive aspects that I detect in the speeches or the evaluations or even the table topics that the evaluators may have missed. So I believe that serves a good function as well.
I think Tala has a very important role, especially around the other evaluators, those that are evaluating speeches. Those evaluations can be and should be very pithy. You want to almost use the sandwich technique of tell them what they did great, tell them what they might want to do differently next time. And of course, they have the stretch goals at the end. And the general evaluator uses the same philosophy, but he can, in essence, talk to each of those evaluators as to, you were a little heavy on this part and you didn't discuss this one, or it was a balanced evaluation, or what was it? Because evaluations are the heart of Toastmasters. We can't become better without evaluations. Otherwise, you think you're doing great, and perhaps you haven't given a speech that flows with the path that you're on or the project that you're working on. And the evaluators look in there like, I don't get it. That's not what I'm evaluating here. So I want to say that these two roles, as I said, go together like a horse and carriage. And I made a decision to throw in a little bit of humor to the wonderfulness of both Tala and Victor. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Back to me. Thank you ever so much. Let's look at the agenda. Well, before we do that, let's give our keynote speaker a round of applause. Sis Boomba. And if you are looking at the agenda, you probably know that the next item on the agenda is the Q&A, which will be done by our esteemed president. So remember, President, keep your eye on be sure and pin the timer. And timer, you know that you have 5 minutes. Let's give it up for the Q&A. And once again, let's get some applause going on.
Woohoo!
It's up to you now, Cynthia.
Great. Excellent speech, Linda. Presentation, I will say. Let me see if I can see the timer. And I lost Linda for a second. Are you there, Linda?
I'm here.
Oh, yeah, you're here. Okay, great. So do we have any more questions for Linda? Let me check the chat. Put them in the chat if you've got some questions. We ordered the day. I think we answered those. So I'd love to talk about, so what skill set are you learning as a Toastmaster of the day that you can share throughout the world?
Well, Cynthia, that's such a great question. One of the things that I think is key is that having done this, you can moderate bigger conferences, other large meetings, weddings, whatever it might be, social events that have that kind of an individual up front. You learn all the skills that you would need perhaps to be the Toastmaster of the day for an area contest or a division contest or even a district contest, because you know how to move it forward, keep the energy up, and also flow with the contest, especially if you're doing a contest or a program. What I think is really great about our TMODs is the fact that nothing phases them. They never raise their voice. They never get short. They just move along. Okay, this one's longer, this one's shorter. And they make sure that it's transparent, except we all have the agenda in front of us, transparent as to, are we on track? Are we not? How are we making modifications and that kind of thing? It's being able to think on your feet.
Absolutely. And Victor made a comment in the chat. He said, important to note that any of us performs these duties. Not quite right at Leaders Worldwide. You have to be trained as a TMOD and GE, but we recently did lots of training like we did today. So all of you were trained in GE and Toastmaster of the Day, as well as the Speechcraft people. And we did it in the evening session as well. So we hope that all of our people have been trained, but I think we're going to make sure that you really have an understanding of it when you sign up for Toastmaster of the Day. And we'll probably make a general evaluator sign-up sheet too. And then make sure you really are prepared and are ready for it, so you're set up for success. Awesome.
Gary has a question. Does
Yeah.
the general evaluator share the responsibility to fill the slots along with the Toastmaster of the day?
Really good question. Can I answer that, Linda?
Sure.
Yeah, so we are going to work towards that. Currently, it's the VPE that fills those slots and puts people in. And then people say yay or nay in easy speak. And we would like to do that with the input of the GE. So we'd like to have them ahead of time so that they can choose their evaluators and choose their grammarian and choose their timer with the input of the VPE, because we want to make sure that there's a rotation of duties. Not everybody's a timer every time, or a speaker every time, or an evaluator every time. We want to rotate those duties so we all can get exposure to it. But as we move past May, you're going to see a lot more involvement. And the reason for that is because when we get to the point where we're actually doing our TEDx event, where we've been practiced, where we've auditioned, where we're really ready and prepared with our speeches, we're going to have to be prepared with our role players too. We need a Toastmaster of the day and we need a timer, but most likely we'll need evaluators. I mean, most likely we'll need a table topics master. And so we want those roles to be just spot on and for them to be ready and prepared to give them on a really, truly worldwide stage, a truly worldwide TEDx stage.
Thank you, Cynthia. I think I think you're right. At this point, it's Cynthia and Kathleen who are doing a lot of the nominations. Many of the clubs that I've attended or I've spoken at, they actually do the role plays for, if they haven't got all the role players for the next meeting, they finish that one and start the next one. So they're doing it when everybody is in the meeting. Cassandra, one last question.
It's just a comment. I appreciate you, Carolyn, Michelle, all of you for stepping up and sharing your wisdom, your knowledge with us. I really do. It's making a lot of sense. It's coming together. Victor, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
It's coming together.
Thank you, Cassandra, so much.
And we have one more question in the chat or comment in the chat from Heike. The Ringmaster also keeps the harmony like a gatekeeper. Absolutely. We want a harmonious, positive learning environment. So great. Well, thank you. Yes.
However, that doesn't mean that you have to sing.
But you can.
But you can, or you can turn on music in the background. Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you very much, Linda. Is there any last words that you have for us?
I believe fully that any one of you could take on the general evaluator or the Toastmaster of the day easily, effortlessly, and brilliantly. So don't be afraid to step up and step into that role. There are 60 some people there to support you and to mentor you in that role should you need it. Answer your questions. Toastmasters also has a ton of information on their site. If you're stepping into something that's new and you want to look at, well, what's the checklist? What's the script? That kind of thing. They have that up on their website, which was what the cover that I put up right at the beginning. So step forward. It'll be scary, but it's well worth it. And we're a very supportive group. We will give you all the positive kudos we can and a little bit of stretch goals as well for the next time. Thank you again, Madam President.
Thank you, Linda. And can you also post in the chat the link to that resource that you gave us?
Yes.
Is that possible? That would be fabulous. So one more big round of applause for Linda Patten. Woo! Our Ringmaster of Ringmasters. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day, DTM Victor Irving Jenkins.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking at the agenda, then you know that right now it's the 5-minute break. Beginning right now, we got 5 minutes and we'll come back with more fun and frolic. Thank you for waiting. Welcome back to the show. Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters. I always wanted to be a television show, a talk show guy. So welcome back to the show. As we resume our meetings now, we get into the prepared speeches portion of our program. And that means that the timer will once again be asked to tell us what the timing constraints are for these prepared speeches. We have 2 prepared speeches that I think they're both 5 to 7 minutes. Mr. Timer, can you tell us how
Yes.
you're going to do this?
Yes, that is correct. 5 to 7 minutes. So at 5 minutes, the green, 6, the yellow, 7 minutes, the red, and 30 seconds to wrap it up. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
And we truly want to encourage the speakers to be sure and pin the timer so you can stay connected with your audience, because when you look away, you lose us. Our first speaker will be, our first evaluator will tell us about what our first speaker is going to do. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for Sally Reyes as she tells us the speaker's title, path, and so on. Sally Reyes, unmute yourself.
First speaker is, oops. I think I'm unmuted. I'm okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Gary Howarth is going to give his speech. Make them choose you. Connect with storytelling.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Sally. Gary Howarth is a sales trainer, consultant, and top international salesperson for over 30 years. He is the founder of Connect by Voice, a platform for sending professional audio emails for that personal touch with prospects and clients. He is a best-selling author of 2 books on sales and marketing, and he also served as president of the nonprofit Rose City Counseling Center in Pasadena. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, visitors and others, help me welcome to the virtual lectern, Gary Howarth, as he tells us, make them choose you. Gary Howarth.
Have you ever met somebody that everybody wanted to work with, everybody wanted to be their friend, and they were just the life of the party? They were the person that everybody wanted to surround themselves with. Well, I have, and her name is Terry, and I'd like to introduce you to her. How did I end up here? In fact, what happened to my hair? Oh, who are all these people? Toastmasters? Oh, well, that's very good to know. I was invited here by Gary, and I've really missed him so much over the last 10 years. I haven't been able to hold him, touch him, have a conversation with him, hug him, any of those things. And the reason is that I had left your earth about 10 years ago. I succumbed from uterine cancer, and it was a tough situation. But Gary, I miss you dearly, and thank you for bringing me back for the moment. One of the things that Gary wanted me to talk to you about today was how I communicated with people, because he said people always chose me. So when I first met Gary, the first time we got together was at a group date. And my girlfriend said, you have to meet this guy. And so we all gathered at the spaghetti factory in Hollywood, California. And if you were seated at the table with all of us, you would have been able to smell the spaghetti sauce, the fresh bread baking, hear all the conversations going around. But if you were sitting next to me, you would have seen me work what Gary calls my system. And when I did that, I flirted with him, obviously, but at the end of that evening, you would have known that there was a connection. And in addition to that, it worked so well, my system, is that we were married 9 months later. Well, Gary, being an engineer, wanted to break the system down because as an engineer, that's what he does. And so the first component is communication. The second component is differentiation. And the third is why. Well, I used this system my entire life in communicating with everybody from my nephews and nieces, my family, my friends, my coworkers, and I was a teacher, so obviously with my students. And so let me just get started with how it works. Well, the first step is the communication, and what that's really about is making sure that when you talk with somebody, that there is a mutual understanding between the two of you. But there is one thing that's a real secret that I want to share with you. You need to focus on the other person. And when you focus on the other person, on their dreams, desires, their feelings, then you make a great communication. They feel wonderful, and that strong feeling that they have because you're sharing, you're caring for them, with them, comes right back at you. And it's just a magical thing, and it's just wonderful. So the first step in communication, the main item is to focus on the other person. Okay, well, the second part is differentiation. Well, when I first met Gary, I differentiated myself by letting him know that I was single, and I was laughing at all his terrible jokes. And in addition to that, just wanted to let him know that I was, unique from everybody else. But businesses also have to create differentiation, and organizations. For example, you'll notice that businesses may claim to be the biggest, the strongest, maybe the smallest, the only one in this location. But organizations can also decide to organizations can decide to differentiate themselves by current events. And the current event that makes the most impact now is the pandemic, where people are wanting to work from home. Businesses want their employees to work from home, but it means that they want to have flexible hours, and they want to be able to communicate on things like Zoom. As a matter of fact, can anybody tell me what Zoom is? Anyway, the third item, the way to differentiate yourself is the why. And the why is the most important part. In fact, there's just imagine a bullseye here. And this is called the Golden Circle Formula, and is talked about by Simon Sinek and Jay Abraham. And on the outside, you see there's a what, the inside is a how, and the bullseye is the why. Well, many people talk about the what they do. Others elaborate a little more on how they do it, but the most important part is why they do it. So as a Toastmasters organization and you're trying to get new clients, talk about your values and mission statements. That's your why. And that's going to resonate with people if you're trying to increase your membership. So those are really the three key parts for me: the communication with focus, number two is the differentiation, and the third is the why. Well, that's my secret sauce. I hope you're able to incorporate this both in your personal life and in your business. I have, and it's really worked for me. I know it will work for you. Well, God is calling. I need to get back. So I'm going to turn this back over to Gary. Well, everyone, I'm glad Terry was here to share with her insights. And I really wish that you could embody and embrace those and use them in your own life, because it will help them make them choose you. Back to you, Master Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary Howard. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Gary Howard, making them choose you. Will the timer please let us know when 60 seconds are up?
Time's up.
Thank you ever so much. Our next evaluator who will be evaluating our speaker number 2 is Sandra Garabedian. Sandra, do you have the credentials for our next speaker, her pathway, her project, and the title of her speech?
I sure do, Mr. Jenkins.
Then let's hear it, sister.
Okay, our next speaker, Mrs. Teresa Cherry. Mrs. Cherry is interested in all things money and appreciates the balance between business value and personal wealth. Her speech today is from Pathway Level 2, Understanding Your Communication Style. It will be a 5 to 7 minute speech. Her pathway is Level 2. Teresa Cherry, the purpose of her project is for the member, Teresa Cherry, to learn about the different communication styles and identify her primary style. The purpose of the speech is for Teresa to share the impact of her style on others. Teresa will deliver a well-organized speech about some aspect of communication styles. Teresa may choose to speak about her own communication style or the impact of communication style on her. The speech may be humorous or informational or any style Teresa chooses. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Cassandra Garabedian. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself to hear from our next speaker, none other than Teresa. Teresa, don't forget to pin the timer. We don't want you to go over
I
time.
just did.
All right, sister, let's go. We're hearing right now from Teresa Cherry.
Thank you very much. No, I thought I pinned the timer. Oh, well. Anyway.
Hold on, I'll get you so you can see it. Oops. Oh.
Am I to do gallery view and then pin you, which I did?
No, I just have to take you off of Spotlight so I can.
Oh, okay. I had no
Okay.
idea I was being spotlighted.
Yes.
Talk
well,
about extra intimidating.
No problem. Okay, so now let me see if you are able to see me.
Can you spotlight both of you? Both the speaker and the timer?
I can pin you, which is all I need to do.
I don't think you can because you're really
I just did.
spotlighted. But when you're spotlighted, you will unpin. Can you pin Teresa, please, Isaac? I mean, spotlight her. Spotlight both
Yeah.
the timer and the speaker. Thank you.
Oh
Oh.
my.
Okay.
I
don't see it.
apologize.
We can start over again.
Yes, we
when
can
you get
start over.
spotlighted. Yeah, let's unspotlight Cassandra and spotlight Teresa. and spotlight
Oh.
yourself. So Cassandra's
Okay.
still spotlighted. Did you unspotlight her?
Yes, she should be unspotlighted.
And Teresa, all right, cool.
Okay,
Why doesn't
Ready to
our
roll.
Toastmaster of the day reintroduce you so you can have a clean start?
oh, just give me the name of the speech and my name and I'll go along. Or I'll do it.
Teresa Cherry, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for your indulgence as we opened up this speech. I am really excited to talk to you about formulating a relationship between your communication style and the reception of your audience. Perhaps it's not so much that we only use one communication style, but that we always consider the audience and modify our delivery and our message to that audience to get the best response. Now, this is really, it's a really interesting serendipitous occasion that I should follow Gary's speech, because mine's going to be on style, but I didn't bring a wig, although my hair is probably better than his. Anyway, the communication style pathway is a very interesting one because it includes a self-examination, a little test. And what gives me pause is there are so many tests out there to tell you about your personality, the personality of your audience, your predispositions, even what careers you might want to pursue. And it seems that most of these tests have 4 different aspects to them that they hope to pigeonhole us into. So I will address each of the individual styles from this particular pathways test and talk a little bit about how I might approach a person with that particular communication style. I found out that I am a very direct person, so I like something delivered to me quickly, succinctly, in order, in an organized manner. So if I was communicating with another direct person, well, I would simply say something like, are you interested in cryptocurrency, in earning some crypto while you can control a hotspot, much like the large telecommunications companies, but one that you control? That will get either a positive or a negative response, and it will get, fortunately, a very quick response, because the mantra for direct people is tell me yes, tell me no, tell me quick, gotta go. The next style is initiating. Someone who is friendly, fun-loving, likes to really engage in a relationship and savor and nurture the moment. For a person like that, I might say, would you like to join the People's Network, where you will communicate nationwide as well as in your community with people, like-minded people who want to perpetuate and support the Internet of Things? Then we could have a long, interesting conversation about the nuance of that offer. Into my mind, the supportive communication style also is very interested in community, but from another aspect. This communication style is very interested in philanthropic and charitably orientated community growth types of messages. Therefore, and they don't like conflict, they just want everybody to be happy. So with the People's Network, you are able to not only support your own community, but benefit the world, because this arrangement will help you communicate, help you disseminate a network of different of hotspots where we are supporting the Internet of Things, which is all those little scanners and scanners and sensors that benefit our lives and benefit the lives of everybody around us. Now, finally, there is the analytical, and that's where I'd have to get into the numbers about, in order to facilitate this network, a peer-to-peer network, and get your hotspot on board, we're going to need 40 million of these things worldwide. There are so many nuances to placing a hotspot in your community and how it relates to the different hotspots all over the world. So being an analytical, these people will be very, very interested in getting all the numbers, learning all about the research that's involved in mining crypto and the crypto asset popularity that is going on right now, and so many aspects of that particular genre. Or so dealing with one-on-one with other people is sometimes very easy because you get a really good feel of how they like to communicate. Communicating with a group can be much more difficult because one has to tailor one's message to reach as many people in the audience as possible. Many times, though, the nature of the group will speak to how the people will react and what their particular style might be. So I encourage you to take a look at the communication styles module in Pathways and at least take the Cosmo quiz. It was quite fun. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Teresa Cherry. With the timer, take off 60 seconds before we move to the next portion of our meeting, and let me know when that is. Thank you, Mr. Timer.
One minute is up.
I remind everyone that our theme for today's meeting is the Ides of March. Our word of the day is decision. And by the Ides of March, we mean the 15th of March. Note that the Romans marked certain things off by dates. And being that the theme of the Ides of March, I want to remind each and every one of us about how important dates are. In fact, the most important date I can think of right now is that date that they give you when they're going to start taking your money if you don't unsubscribe or terminate the membership in 7 days. That's pretty annoying. They ask you for something that they give for free, and then they say if you don't terminate it within 7 days, we're going to start asking you for money. So know that as important as the Ides of March is, that 7-day date is even more important because it may cost you some money. We now move to the next section of our meeting, which is the impromptu speaking section. I introduce to you our table topics master, who will tell you what table topics is and all of the nuances associated with it. I give to you, according to the agenda, our table topics master, none other than Sheena Walker.
Thank you. Are you all the eyes of March? Victor's just told us we're the eyes of March. Our eyes are the window to the world. How we see the world and how we're perceived by others depends how we use our eyes. And I call that our lens. We speak about having lenses to see. That depends how you see the world on the decisions and the choices that you might make based on your dull lens, your bright lens, or your colourful lens. Today, I'd like to ask questions connected to decisions, choices, and your lens. So could I have a volunteer that I could ask my first question to? Don't all sound excited and all jump up and down with a skipping rope at once. Teresa, thank you, Teresa. Okay, based on what I've just said, what I'd like you to think about, and you're going to have to do this and think on your feet, I'd like you to take the first letter of your name and tell me 3 things that are powerful about you. Or 3 things you do well using the first initial of your name. How do you see you through your lens?
T is for Teresa, and T is also for teacher. Although I did not aspire to that when I started my university training, actually, I opted to go into business to avoid becoming a math teacher. Let's see, teacher. Well, I like to think of myself as terrific, but that's a person. Some days are better than others. Another T. Come on, audience, help me out here.
I think you're an expert in training. Do you train others?
Training will do, yes.
Sure.
Tenacious, I will take it. Once I get a project under my, once I focus on a project, I can be very tenacious.
I was going to say tenacious.
And yay, good for you. Thank you.
Yes.
Great minds.
Yes.
Thank you,
yes,
sister.
yes.
Oh, this is great.
Yes.
Okay. Back to you, Sheena.
Yes.
Thank you, Terry. That was very good. And, you know, being put on the spot, can be quite challenging, but you described that well. So I have a second question following that. Who would like to be excited to have a question and describe something? Cassandra. Thank you, Cassandra. Love your bright yellow.
Well, thank you.
That's bright and shiny, and that is you. I'd like you to take the first letter of your name and tell me 3 things you would like other people to say about you using that initial. What do other people see through their lens?
That I'm caring, that I'm, ooh, colorful.
Yes, brilliant.
And
somebody help her out?
I'll help her out. She's cute.
Absolutely. I
Oh.
was just about to say that. How could you miss that?
Thank you. I'll take that.
Yeah. It's,
Thank you.
I would have said that the first thing that came to my mind was about being confident and compelling when you speak. You would want other people to describe you as that. I think that would be
I'll
good.
take that too. Sounds good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's worth reflecting on what the questions I've asked you tonight for going forward in the week, thinking, what did Sheena ask me? How can I use that?
I always take in and take it with me always. So thank you.
Okay. So we've talked about how we use our eyes in March, they're our lens, how we make these decisions and choices. And I'm going to add an extra 2 words to that. We make daily choices and we have to do or ditch what works and what doesn't work. So I'd like to ask the third person a question related to that.
How about a guest?
Yes, okay. Judith, is it Judith?
Yes, I'll try. I may regret this, but I will.
No, that's good. That's what it's all about. So we talked about your lenses and what you see through the world, how other people see you. And the third question is, using the first letter of your name, which is Jack, what 3 things would you do and ditch right now, moving forward, personally and professionally? Using the first letter of your name, what would you do or what would you ditch if you could?
One thing I think I would do is to more joyous in my life, which has been difficult in the last couple of weeks with the world goes around, the way things are happening in the world. And what else? Tell more jokes. To be a joke master at Toastmasters events, which I tried.
Yes. Joyous and jokes, brilliant, brilliant. I loved how you smiled when you said that.
Yeah, this is hard. I can't think of another
What
word,
about,
which
what
is
would
really
you get
strange.
rid of? What would you ditch? Make a decision to ditch something immediately that's not serving you well.
I love to get rid of all junks in my life, which I often do. I am not a collector of things, so I look around in my apartment and I say, okay, this is junk I don't need, and this is something that I do often and still do.
That's
Thank
brilliant.
you, madam.
That's brilliant. What if you got rid of junk where you work or the people you surround yourself with? I'm not meaning that to be negative. I'm just saying sometimes when we get rid of clutter and junk, we should ditch it in all aspects of our life to make a fresh start. Does that work for you?
My mostly are these material things that I consider. I haven't thought about expanding this to humans. So that's what it is.
Yeah, thank you. That was a really good description. I love the joyous and ditching the clutter. I think we could all relate, everybody in the room could relate to being joyous and getting rid of clutter. We've all got clutter I think. Have we not?
Right.
Okay. So, do we think that the three people that answered the question described quite well how they saw the world through their eyes of March, through their lens? And I'll just leave you with the thought to make good decisions, good choices, and do or ditch things that are not valuable to you and don't serve any purpose. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, let's give her a great big round of applause for the table topics moderator. And if you see by the agenda, you'll see that we are right on time. And who wants to do that? Alluding to dates and how important dates are. The 15th of April in the United States of America is the date that we all frown upon because it's the date of the IRS. So I'll tell you a short story about this IRS agent that went to inspect this farmer's farm, right? He walked up to the farmer and he tells the farmer who he is and what he is. So the farmer's a little nervous. He's afraid of the guy, but he says to him, okay, but don't go on this part. And well, the IRS man, not to be discouraged, says, let me tell you something. I can go on any part of this farm that I want to. You see this badge? This badge says I can go anywhere and do anything. The farmer says, yeah, but this badge will do it, okay? So he goes on to inspect the farm and he gets a little bit around the bend behind the barn, and suddenly there's a bull chasing the IRS man. He's running along the fence trying to get away from him. And the guy was trying to tell. So the farmer runs over to him, says, hey, show him your badge. Show him your badge. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the evaluative phase of the meeting. If he's not my favorite Toastmaster, he certainly has my favorite name to say. I give you, ladies and gentlemen, our general evaluator, none other than Tala bin Hamid. Let's get it for Tala.
Thank you so much, DTM Victor. And your introductions always leave one in an embarrassing position because it's always very hard to live up to them. But anyhow, I'll try my best. So everyone, the evaluation section is the crux of a Toastmasters meeting. And I dare anyone to find something even remotely similar in any skill building program anywhere else. So with that, my first job is to invite the speech evaluators for today. Our first speaker today is Toastmaster Gary Howard, and his evaluator is Sally Race. So everyone, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Sally Race.
Thank you. Are we on? Yes. Okay. Gary made a terrific description of a wonderful person who he ended up marrying within 9 months. And he was impressed by the way she disclosed her communication skills and locked herself into being remembered and valued. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yes.
So she became a mutual understanding person and gave definition to her life and her purpose, and then differentiated herself as to why. And this made a big impression on him in his life. And I've enjoyed his retelling this story because we can use it with individuals at all times. We can reuse it in groups as to evaluate whether groups are effective or reflect your own values. I thought that he did a very good job in changing how he looked, of course, so that we would be thinking we could reimagine her giving her speech and her life's work. I'm saddened by the fact that he hasn't talked to her within 10 years. I think that's extremely challenging and difficult. But that she gave him the path to follow and to spread to us and others in the importance of business and individual communication. Outstanding, I was going to say that he made us really care about her. And he could carry that a little further by describing special things that she might have said, which stuck in his mind to want to know her better and say, oh, I need to get close to that person, which obviously worked. But I think I would like to learn from that how to quickly communicate and connect with people I think are deeply communicating in my life. And I can take those lessons from his deep and revealing communication to us about their friendship, comradeship, and pairing. I thought that maybe he could expand a little bit, maybe to change his wig to a more modern one. I'm not sure, but I think maybe he doesn't look that good in dark brown. Take some chances and see if just appearance might change something. Add a shawl, do something that might bring her out a little bit more and make us feel the intensity of his feelings in her reflection. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sally Ways. You no doubt match the beauty of the sentiments shown by Gary in his speech. Our second speech is by Toastmaster Teresa Cherry, and she will be evaluated by Toastmaster Cassandra Gervadian. Over to you, Toastmaster Cassandra.
Okay, can you hear? Oh, I think I'm on. Okay. Teresa, I loved your speech. I love it when you present. On this speech, you engaged us. You told us about the 4 different styles of communication. You had your eye contact was excellent. Your vocal variety was there. Spoke very clear. We understood you. You went through the various styles of communication. You told us about your style. You gave us examples of how your style mingled with the various other styles of communication. However, I would have loved to have heard personal stories about your interactions when you had clients and you interacted with those various styles. How did that happen? Give us some experience, give us some examples, pull us into those stories. Personal experiences. Those type of stories would have brought us in. Although you did give us examples, but those personal stories would have brought us into those stories would have brought us in. Those would be some things I would like to challenge you with, some stretch goals on your next time bring us into some personal stories of yours. That's what I'd like to challenge you with. But overall, it was an amazing presentation. I just love having you on stage and hearing you. Thank you for gracing us with your presence in that story. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Woohoo.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Cassandra. Now it's my turn to call for the timer support Toastmaster as a core. Are you ready with your report?
Yes, I am.
Great.
Okay, I'll start with the keynote speaker, Linda. Her time was 15 minutes and 22 seconds. So she was right on time. Q&A section, Cynthia, you went a little over, 7 minutes and 14 seconds for the Q&A. Gary's speech was 7 minutes and 31 seconds, just 1 minute over the time.
Still be disqualified.
Yours,
Ooh,
Isaac, are you there?
oh, wow, let me change.
Now you're
Yeah.
on. Now we can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Or maybe you should put it in the chat if you can't get the vocal.
We just heard him though, so Toastmaster Isaac, would you unmute yourself? We still can't hear you. You're perfectly audible, and then all right. I think I'll request Toastmaster Isaac to put the timing in the chat, the remainder. We got half of your report. Thank you for timing so well. And we'll move on to our grammarian for today, who was our impromptu grammarian, Toastmaster Judith. Over to you, grammarian and word master, Toastmaster Judith.
Woohoo.
System.
Did I hear my name or something? No?
Yes, the grammarian.
No?
Yes, yes,
As a
yes,
grammarian. Okay.
yeah.
Well, decision was not the most popular words. Victor certainly used it multiple times. I couldn't really know how many more times he used it, but used it many, 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 many times. And I think Linda has as well. And if I miss somebody, then let me know who else used the word decision. And also, I want to say about the table topics, the word is Ides of March, not the Ides of March. And I don't know whether that is actually was the, whatever the word it was, but it's IDES is actually the word. But Ides works as well, I guess. Let's see. One of the words that was also popular is very, very. Maybe we should think about other words like exceptionally, extremely, especially, instead of very, 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 very good. So maybe there were maybe some other words might be good. Well, I am grammarian, so that's what I do. Anyway, I liked there's certain words I like. The Ringmaster, the Toastmaster wears many hats. I like the golden circle formula. I thought that was really a great phrase, Gary. And the secret sauce. That's always a great. I like the serendipitous of Teresa's words, and also the so many aspect of genre. I guess is the cryptocurrency. And one other thing, I think it was Sally, the deeply communicating. I really like that expression. And I don't have any more thing to say. Oh, the frolic. Yes, I like that word. That was actually perfect there. Thank you. That's my report, General.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Judith. And now it's my turn to evaluate the meeting in journal, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. First of all, I must highlight that every time the meeting is opened in a very energetic and exciting way by the president. She always manages to change at the introduction. She never goes through the usual spiel of Toastmasters is almost 100 years old. There are 17,000 clubs around the world, etc., etc. You managed to get us excited about the club and about Toastmasters in general in a different way in each meeting, and that is commendable. Toastmaster of the day, as always, attention grabbing stuff. You used your voice to fullest, and you seem to have mastered the art of grabbing the attention within the first 30 seconds. I need to learn that. Love your energy, your claps, and your flow. And of course, I don't know whether you got to be a TV presenter or not, but you're better than most of the TV presenters that I've seen. So congratulations on that. Brilliant job by guest Judith to take up the role of grammarian. Absolutely fantastic. And you played the role to perfection. Hats off. And please, for God's sake, you don't pin the timer. You'll get into a whole lot of trouble for doing that. It's 2022. Pin the timer's window, please. And Toastmaster Victor, that is for you especially. You told everyone to pin the timer. You want everyone to land in jail or something. So yeah, you pin the timer's window, not the timer themselves. Lovely cap, Toastmaster Linda Patten, like many hats, and your hat was lovely. I want your hat. If not for me, then for my wife. Absolutely fantastic. You started in a perfect way, and you carried us through what could have been a very dry topic in a very entertaining and engaging manner. You engaged the audience, a very successful keynote, the likes of which I've rarely seen, this much interaction and this much excitement in a keynote. So congratulations on that. Loved how you painted a visual picture of the role of the Toastmaster of the day. Very, very imaginative there. And overall, we all learned tremendously about both the roles in Toastmasters and German. We ended up going overtime with the Q&A, but then we recovered very well. Toastmaster Gary, you jumped into the speech with great energy. I'll just echo your evaluator. You could have brought a little more flair, a little more dialogue, a little more back and forth with your wife, since you're playing her role as so that would have upgraded your speech a little bit more. And Toastmaster Teresa, again, the words that you used were beautiful, and you somehow fit the project into a very, very unlikely category, which is cryptocurrency, and that was beautifully done. I mean, it's hard to describe, but it was really, really fantastic. Both the speakers, though, you need to do a better job with the timing, because I hate it when I see the red card and the speaker still speaking. So yeah, that causes me a panic attack. So you should share that panic as well. I must commend the amazing job by the timer through the beautiful usage of your windows. You managed to communicate the 1-minute silence and everything else to perfection. It's a tragedy that you lost your voice in the middle of your role, but absolutely fantastic job. I love the table topics because they were very challenging. I don't mind a little bit of gamification in table topics, and you did that to perfection today, Toastmaster Sheena. And what's more, the table topic speakers, they took it up exceptionally well. I mean, I'm glad I was not one of the table topic speakers, but absolutely fantastic session. And that was my general evaluation for the meeting. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
A huge round of applause to Talha bin Hamid. Let's give it to Talha. That's how you do general evaluation duties. Anybody that's not sure how you do it, just remember what you just saw, and you can watch this video again. He prefaced his remarks earlier in the program about how he tends to focus on the positive. Unfortunately, there were lots of positive things that he could focus on, and it's not always positive. Sometimes it's conciliatory. Sometimes it's punishing. But if we all get proficient in our roles and love our roles, it'll be more laudatory, like what he just did. That's 3 words for the grammarian next time. Even though the agenda doesn't say that I get a chance to open my pie hole right now, I did get a chance to open my pie hole. Now I will return to the agenda and give our meeting to our president, even though the VPE, who's not here, is supposed to be next. So I give it to you, President Cynthia Stott.
Thank you, DTM Victor Irving Jenkins. And I will step in for VPE, but I kind of did that by going over in the Q&A, but there were some sections I wanted to talk about the TMOD and how it's going to change for the VPE is going to create some forms and have you sign up and make sure you're trained and make sure you know what you're doing and give you more responsibility and more opportunity to take ownership of the meeting. So again, what the Toastmaster of the day is, they're going to be allowed to, because we're going to do it ahead of time, they're going to be allowed to choose the theme of the day and also work with the grammarian to choose the word of the day. They're going to be able to choose their general evaluator with consultation with the VPE, because the VPE knows other things that people are working on and how to rotate them, as well as the Toastmaster of the day will be responsible for making sure all our role players are on the line today, so that we can start the meeting on time and with a full complement of people. We somehow missed that Lynn Fraley was not here and weren't able to ask for a grammarian early on. So if the Toastmaster of the day had been focused on that and the general evaluator had been actually the general evaluator will probably look for the grammarian because that's part of their team. So we're going to divide that up between the general evaluator and the Toastmaster of the day, and then they will be looking for the people to play their roles. Plus, we want you to take responsibility and for you to show up as your role, ready to play your role, understanding what it is, and so we can really have a great meeting. This will be critical as we go into TED Talks. We don't want a TED Talk where we're figuring out if we should spotlight the speaker or the timer, that we just then learn that you can't pin the timer once you've been spotlighted. So you have to spotlight both the speaker and the timer if you both want them to show up. So we're going to work that out, but it's good that we had it happen today. So we know, ooh, we gotta get on this. We gotta make sure that our Zoom hosts know exactly what to do and who to pin and who to spotlight and all of that. So it can go like clockwork and be really a show, as Victor said, at the TED Talks. Because we don't want to have a Toastmasters meeting that looks like we're kind of winging it by the seat of our pants. We want to present ourselves to the world as a top-notch Toastmasters meeting that all Toastmasters all over the world would be proud to say, hey, that's a great running Toastmasters meeting, and it's a TED Talk. I love it, love it, love it, love it. So we'll look forward to that maybe next month. If everybody can get their information into Easy Speak, you can get support from Kathleen or from Victor on how to do that. But if everybody gets their information into Easy Speak next month, then in May we can start planning our TED Talks and gathering a committee and talking to the people at TED and talking to people that have run other TEDx events and get this show on the road. Plus, we're going to have Rabia Zishan is going to join us in May, and she's going to help us get all in gear and straightened out and straightened up and ready for TEDx, because we're going to simultaneously do a donation drive. Okay, so we call it a donation drive for the organization that she works with, as well as Tala works with, which builds schools in rural Pakistan. And we want to support 4 schools to have all of their students working for the next year. And I think we can do it. Absolutely, we can do it, because we're going to have the support of the world on the web to help us raise these funds. A fundraiser, that's it. That's the word I was looking for, fundraiser. So awesome. So we look forward to seeing Rabia join us in April. Okay, now we'll switch to my role, which is my favorite part of the meeting, takeaways and chocolates. And first, I'd like to ask any of our guests if you would like to share your takeaways. What was your experience at the meeting? What are you taking away with you? What's enriching your life that you got today? And let's see, anybody have their raised hand? Tala, or can you help me with anybody's raised hand? I can't see it so easily on my phone.
Oh, no. Yeah, go ahead.
For Isaac, great.
Yeah, no, I don't see any hands up yet.
Okay, well, why don't we ask?
Oh, wait,
Heike?
Judith just raised her hand.
Judith.
Oh, Heike was unmuted here. Well, we go with her first, and then I'll go right to you, Judith, okay?
Well, thanks a lot for having me as a guest at your meeting. I love visiting and I love seeing different interpretations. May I say you've been very, very kind to your table topic participants, because in our club we are mean. Because what we do is we throw the question out in the open and make everyone sweat. So people look away, I pretend it's not me, you're not going to be asking me. And then we don't volunteer, we pick someone. So you've been a very kind club in that way. And I just love how you did your roles, and I love how you do teams. I've never thought about it like this, but you're quite right. The general evaluator, the Toastmaster of the day, together with the grammarian and the timer, they really are a team to get the show on the road. So thank you. That's definitely something I will take away with me to our club.
Great, thank you. And is your name Heike? Is that correct, or Heike?
It's a German name, and I always say to people, think about a hitchhiker and forget the hitch, as I try sometimes.
Heike, okay. Yeah, hitchhiker. With a Boston accent, Heike.
Yes.
Great, Heike, and thank you so much for visiting us today. We hope you're going to come back to visit us again.
I have to make a decision to put the alarm clock on.
Oh, because we started late. We also have
4:30 for us here.
Okay. Next week, we have a later meeting at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. So maybe that would be better for you. You can check it out. Yeah. We don't want you to have to prop your eyes up there to watch us. But thank you for coming.
Well, the cup of coffee helped.
Great. And would you like a chocolate to go with your coffee?
That would be very nice. Thank you.
Any kind in particular?
Oh, I'm a nutty one. I love nuts.
Chock full of nuts. Here it comes. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh. Very good catch. Awesome. And Judith.
I just have something to say to Ike, but the thing is about table topics it is not a volunteer assignment. Table topics, the whole idea about table topics really is that you throw out the questions and then you ask the person. It's not that people need to volunteer who likes to ask a question. The whole point about table topics is, yes, you should be all very nervous. Will they ask me this question? So that's is basically how this works. And generally, it's not, don't know about this club in general. But anyway, one of the things that I am really liked about this is that I have not had an experience with all those many, many years in Toastmasters of having speeches about the roles of meeting roles. And I think that is really just an amazing thing because people say, you know, what they do, Toastmasters and general evaluators and all these other roles, but I think this is really great to have this in great details about what the role of these major roles are in a Toastmaster meeting. So that was really great, Linda. And the hat certainly and the gloves worked well with the presentation. At first, I didn't know what the glove was, but then I understood this immediately. I said, yes, that the hand in gloves goes anyway. It's great. Thank you.
Awesome.
That.
And would you like a chocolate, Judith?
Yes, of course.
Anything
Any
special
chocolate
today?
works.
Any chocolate. How about my favorite, which is Belgian chocolate, dark chocolate?
Okay, that works anytime.
But from my little corner store, they import it right from Belgium. Here you go.
Okay, I'm ready. Thank you.
Good catch. Good catch. And we yes, Tala.
Yeah, please complete whatever you were saying, and then I'll.
No, go ahead.
You were all right. So I'd like to piggyback onto what Toastmaster Judith said about table topics. And yes, Leaders Worldwide is kind and polite to the point of impossibility in terms of table topics, because in other clubs, especially in my home club, we go one up on what Toastmaster Judith described. We call the speaker first, and then we tell them the topic. And the usual expectation is that the speaker would speak on the topic. So, like, we don't give people a choice, you know, like we don't give call out for volunteers. We pinpoint the speakers, and we usually take care that those who have not had the opportunity to speak, either as a speaker or an evaluator, role player, they get picked out. But one thing that we do before the meeting is that we usually ask people whether, if called upon, would you like to do a table topic or not? Because at one point in time, and this is a real story, we were launching a club, and the club president's husband was called upon for a table topic. And he teaches in a university, he's a professor. And somehow the poor guy bombed. He could not speak. And then he did not speak to his wife for 1 week. And he was terribly upset. He closed himself up in his room. And the poor lady called me up and she said that please don't ever do this again. Yeah. So it seems kind of funny in retrospect, but that taught us a lesson that always ask people whether they're willing to come up for a table topic before the meeting. So yeah, it's a different insight, and as someone said in the meeting today, I think it was guest Hike, if I'm correct, that within the same set of rules, we have so many beautiful flavors, so many interpretations of how different segments are done. So it's all part of the beauty of Toastmasters.
Yes, there is no Toastmasters police, and it's up to the club. All the roles are actually up to the club. I asked Toastmasters International because we might be changing them for a TEDx event, and they said that's completely up to your club. So thank you, Tala, for giving that. And I think we're going to evolve our Toastmasters role, and we'll probably have a keynote presentation on it in the future. So great. Sure. Would you like a chocolate, Tala?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
I better give you two, one for your wife and one for you.
That goes without saying. I need to get back into the bedroom, right?
Yes. You don't want
It's
to find
1
the door
o'clock.
locked.
It's 1 o'clock here. So yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, this will be a good night chocolate. Here it comes. 1, 2, 3. Woo! And for your wife, woo! Maybe I'll give you a whole box for her. How about that? Woo!
Oh.
Well, no matter what you give, I'll probably end up eating them. So unless you secretly inform her that you've given something for her, forget about it.
That's funny.
Funny. And John, our guest, would you like to share a bit about what you're taking away with you today, and if you enjoyed the program?
My dear friends,
Yes.
please do not make the decision to take this the wrong way. You are an outrageous bunch who cannot keep quiet, who throw energy at everything, who can't even hand over from one person to another without building it into a speech. What amazing energy. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, John. And would you like a chocolate?
Well, I feel a bit guilty because I've got an entire box of chocolates here already. So,
Oh, that's right. You can
and they're
eat
not
real
even
chocolate.
virtual, my dear.
Ah, you're eating virtual chocolate in front of us. Oh my goodness. Should throw some back here. Thank you. And thank you. You're going to be one of our speakers coming up. I know Annabelle's going to give you a email to schedule you. And I want to take my hats off to the lady with the hat, Linda Patten. Would you like to share? Woohoo!
Yes, it was how do I put it, a unique opportunity to teach while doing a speech. So more of a Q&A kind of thing than a true speech with a subject, a middle, and an end. But as John said, I love the energy of this group. No matter what you do, everyone supports you. Everyone smiles, you get some laughs. If you ask a question, you get an answer. And that's one thing I love about the whole structure of this particular organization. Having visited, as you have, Cynthia, so many other clubs, there's a real interesting sense as you walk in, you sort of have to figure out, so what's the dynamic here? And this one is real easy to figure out. Everyone helps everyone, and all of the people are committed speakers and doing just a really great job at all of their roles. And I can't wait to see what we're going to do with these two, because we've actually morphed them a bit from what Toastmasters has for both of these already. So I can't wait to see where we go from there.
Yes, we're all about innovation here at Leaders Worldwide.
Yeah.
And would you like a chocolate?
Well, if you have 100% cacao and caramel, that'd be great.
And caramel and 100% cacao. Ooh, I love it. Yes. Here it comes. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh! And with that, we're gonna say adieu. Our next meeting is next Monday, but in the evening time in California at 5:30 p.m. California time, and we end at 8 p.m. California time. So hopefully that works better for you, Heike. Okay, great. Have a wonderful rest of your day, night, morning, whatever. Bye-bye for now.